Welcome to Spotlight North Carolina Cooperative Extension. My name is Lydia Miles and I'm your host. North Carolina Cooperative Extension is comprised of two land-grant universities, North Carolina A&T State University and NC State University. I'm here today with Rebekah Benton, our 4-H agent. Rebekah, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
Thank you for having me today, Lydia. I'm so excited because today I want to talk a little bit about one of our camps that I've kind of spearheaded. It's a Cloverbud camp that currently right now it's upcoming. By the time the show airs, it should have already taken place. But it's a camp for ages 5 to 8, and we're just going to talk a little bit about that. But who I am, I'm, like you said, the 4-H agent here in Columbus County. I've been in my position for a year now. I've learned a lot, but I'm still in that learning role, but I'm just having a great time. So
Great.
Thank you for having me.
That's wonderful. Ages 5 to 8. Why did you choose those ages for the camp?
Oh, well, the professional answer is we've had a lot of ask back from the community. They want events tailored to a younger audience as well as an older audience, but we didn't have a lot at the time, so I really wanted to kind of incorporate that. And if somebody comes to us and says we want this and we're able to provide it, I'm definitely going to try in my power to do it. So
that's great. That's great. So how does the camp go about introducing the kids to agriculture and to exploration and things like that?
So here's what I did. So when I looked at having a Cloverbud camp, I wanted to make sure that kids had hands-on experiences with farming, with animals, that they also had the opportunity to dive into agriculture, because not everybody is interested in the same things. And we have quite a few youth that are interested in agriculture. So being able to be unique and have that particular concept of agriculture and nutrition and how things fit together in our lives was, I think, a great opportunity for youth to be able to explore in.
That's wonderful. What will they get to do? That sounds fun. Farming and nutrition. What do they get to do?
So we've got a 4-day adventure planned for them. They're going to come to the office and they're going to learn about some different things. So we're going to I'm going to highlight a few things that we're going to learn or do. So we're going to be doing some things like scavenger hunts. We're going to actually go out to a farm and learn about farming practices. They're going to have some hands-on, so they're going to learn about a little bit of maybe husbandry of the animals and how to take care of them. They're going to be able to also explore nature. We're going to go to Lake Waccamaw State Park and do a little program out there with Toby Hall. He's one of my renowned 4-H volunteers for our county. He loves to work with youth, and he's got a great program to kind of introduce them to the lake. Let's see, we are also doing some things in-house. I think I've got Lydia, you're doing something with your field with them, as well as I've got Soil and Water. Lisa's coming over to do an activity. We're going to do some arts and crafts with them, and we're really just going to have a good time.
That sounds great. So you touched on the aquatic side with Lake Waccamaw, and that's great, and the farm life side, and I'm the field crops agent, so that sounds like a lot of fun. I might have to come help out that day. But how does nutrition really play into it?
So along with learning about animals, I mean, there are so many facets, I would say, of agriculture. In all honesty, there's no part of your life that doesn't touch agriculture, and that's just that table component from, we raise the animals, we produce the meat, or crops, or vegetables, or fruit, and this is going to give them a little hands-on experience, learning about how these foods are good for your body, as well as getting to sample some as snacks, and hopefully, they'll get exposed to something new.
That's great. So we've touched on nutrition, and they're going to be getting some exercise on those hiking excursions and scavenger hunts. And what do you think they'll learn during those?
So physical activity is a really important part. So I'm really hoping that they're going to learn about being self-aware, because when we're on these scavenger hunts, they're going to be learning to problem solve. They're going to learn to, identify things and to look for things and time to be around or aware of their surroundings. And this will give them an opportunity to, put these in some real world application. So maybe when they're at school or in class, they're also going to be aware of their surroundings. So
that's great. I know last year we went out there and we're doing the hiking, and they showed us the bay trees and how it smells like Old Bay, and the kids were all fascinated with that. And anytime they'd come back, they'd talk about the bay trees and how it smells like Old Bay. So they sure retain a bit from those.
They do. Those nature walks are very informative to our youth, and they are paying attention. Trust you me. They might be talking and working on those friendship aspects as well, but they are paying attention to what our presenters are showing them.
That's right. So with kids that young, 5 to 8, I know parents are often concerned about the safety and well-being of their children. And what kind of measures do we have in place to make sure that everyone stays safe and healthy and happy?
Yes. So one of the major things we do, we're looking at making sure that we have a correct counselor to youth ratio. We want to make sure that we have enough volunteers per child. My volunteers are certified. Most of my volunteers are extension for my particular program. There'll be Malia Evers and Marissa Spillman will be there with me, and they've already went through the volunteer process. Toby Hall has went through it, and these folks are also background checked and able to work with youth. Wow. So we have that in place, so we have completely safe volunteers. These also, parents have a big responsibility in the safety as well, because we have got registrations on 4-H Online, which help the parents and I communicate back and forth to know things like what kind of allergies their children have. And we have conversations, phone conversations, because I want to know because basically these parents are saying, here's my child for 4 hours. I need to know everything like they're my child. Right. So because I don't want anything happening, we make sure that when we're on the farm that we've got great people that are there that are presenting these animals, and that they're showing the kids correct ways to handle and maneuver, and they're looking at and they're bringing out their safest animals for them to do hands-on experiments or experiences with, either petting or feeding. It's always going to be a gentle animal. Right. And no kid is ever pushed to do anything that they would be uncomfortable with. If they just want to look and observe, that's fine. Right. We don't want them out of the comfort level. We keep first aid kits on us to make sure in case an accident happens, you accidentally trip and you got a strawberry on your knee, you might need a Band-Aid or, and again, that's another question with the parents. Can I put, Neosporin on them? Can I not? Can I wash it without, what am I able to do and what am I not? And of course, the parents are going to be contacted and let known that, something happened, because we always want to keep them in our circle.
Right. I know last year, you kept that ever important folder with everyone's information in it that was at your fingertips at all times. And
I had parents' numbers on call, ready to roll if I needed it.
Right. So. That's great. You talked a little bit about 4-H Online and registration. And I know this camp will have already passed, but for other camps or for next year, can you talk to us a little bit about that process?
So one thing that I want to highlight about 4-H Online, it is a wonderful tool to get introduced into 4-H, because I have currently had quite a few folks to say, hey, I didn't know the camp was going on and, registration's full. Well, if you are on 4-H Online and you have to register once a year, so when January 1st gets here, you roll off and it's a new enrollment time. So let's say, I'm going to just use my daughter, for example. Her name's Charlotte. Charlotte is enrolled, but I've got to re-enroll her once January 1st gets here. And the reason for that, and the reason why it's so important, is because once I do that, anything that comes out from 4-H from me and from our county goes straight to the parents first, before the public gets it, before the newspaper, anybody gets it. You get first dibs as being, a 4-H member. And you have to keep that registration current for that to happen, because I've had a couple that forgot to register, and Cloverbud camp is filled up, and another one of my camps is filled up, and so they only got, last year they did 3 or 4 camps, well they've only got to sign up for 1 camp this year, and they're a little disappointed, but there's a possibility. We do have waiting list, so don't always count it out just because you're not on that first amount of youth that's already registered, so there could be a dropout or something like that comes available for you.
Okay. So it's really important that come the first of the year, parents enroll their child in 4-H Online so that they get first notification of everything that's happening out of our office and first chance to sign up.
Right.
So you said you have a waiting list.
Mm-hmm.
What are the chances of a child on the waiting list actually getting a spot in camp?
So let's talk about this a little bit. So last year was my first official year, but I have been involved in 4-H camps or local camps for a while, and typically we do have one or two that have misplanned, and they may have planned vacation or something else. So if you're one or two on that list, on that waiting list, then you have a pretty good chance of getting in the camp. But if you're further down the line, then it may not be a possibility. And although we would truly love to have every youth that wanted to participate, because there's such great programs and such great exposure to agriculture, we just don't have the volunteer to ratio to support that right now. And maybe one day we will. But like I said, the chances are if you're 1 through 5, you may get a spot. If you're lower than that on the waiting list, it's doubtful. But I would still get on there because you never know, something could open up.
That makes sense. So, and continuing on with registration and things like that, how much does camp cost for the parents?
Okay, so 4-H registration is free. You don't have to do anything but go in there and register your child, put them online, and so you'll get emails from us and updates and whatever we've got going on. Now, for the actual events and camps, there are prices, and it's basically associated because we try to keep our prices as low as possible. So whatever it's going to be out of pocket for us is what it's going to be out of pocket for you. So it covers your snacks, your educational materials, and any supplies they may take home with them. But for the Cloverbud camp that we're talking about, it's only $30 for the 4 days, and I'm going to have them from 9 o'clock in the morning till 1. But you can drop them off. I'll be there at the office at 8:30 if you need to sign them out early, or sign them in early. That's not a problem. I'll be there, and I don't mind go ahead and take them with me. They can help me. They can be my helper for 30 minutes to help prepare a few things and get the vehicles loaded with me.
Wonderful. So what kind of snacks do they get? And I'm sure you provide water.
Yeah. I always have plenty of water for them. We have tried to incorporate the My Plate and try to keep things balanced. So I try to make sure they have a fruit or a vegetable available because they are just snacks. So we may do protein, fruit, vegetable, dairy. I may do dairy, I may not because it doesn't keep as well. So, for example, we are doing a fruit smoothie that is going to have a dairy in it in the nutrition component. So that will be a way that week they do get a touch of dairy while they're at camp. They're not with me all day, so I don't have to quite plan everything out, but I do try to make sure those snacks are as healthy as possible.
So do you have any positive stories from the last year's camps or anything you'd like to share?
Oh, gosh. So I'm going to tell you, we have had a lot of parents that from last year that were so excited, and they talked about how their children loved, digging for the mussels that are not, they are mussels in the state park, and how they learned about that they were, unique to Lake Waccamaw. We've had parents to just be so excited because their children had never had the opportunity to pet a goat. Actually, last year it was cute that we had a baby goat that they got to feed with a bottle.
Aww.
I don't know that opportunity will happen this year, but I mean that is not, especially if you are not on a farm or you don't have family that own farms or friends and you're never there. That's something that you may not ever get to experience, and that was very nurturing for a lot of families and for their children. They talk about it all the time.
That's great. That's so wonderful. So I know we focused on Cloverbud Camp. Can you tell us just briefly about what other camps you're doing and if they're full or not?
I can work. So we've got a 4-H exploration camp that is put on by Lake Waccamaw State Park in partnership with 4-H. That one is currently full.
Okay.
But we do have a waiting list, and we've only got, I think, 2 on the waiting list right now. We do take a lot of campers to that. We take 20 campers for that particular one, but we have volunteer support on that, and they are background checked as well. So we also have this year, brand new coming to us, is the computer and drone camp. Very exciting. Kids are going to get to build a Raspberry Pi computer that morning. They'll get to take that computer home with them, and it's kind of a gaming system computer. So from what I understand, because this is kind of brand new to me, is that they're going to learn to download some Minecraft games on there, and they can actually take that home and play the same things they program on there. Afternoon, we're going to learn about drones, how to do flips and tricks with drones, and they're going to get to fly some.
That's really neat.
And then, let's see, we've got sewing camp coming up. Last year it was super popular. The waiting list was so big that I ended up doing a second day in sewing camp. And so this year we do have a smaller number of participants, but we're going to do basic hand sewing and machine hand sewing this year. So they'll get some basic skills on that, things that I don't know that are even taught in school anymore. When I was in school, which has dated me quite a bit, we had sewing taught in school a little bit. And then we also have our Farm to Fork camp, which is going to be similar to the Cloverbud camp, but we'll be visiting farms and we'll be visiting places about field crops and things. And they're going to learn a lot about agriculture and how to apply those real life applications to their life, as well as a grilling competition and etiquette classes and how to be a server. And so we've got a lot of things going on in that particular camp too. That one's in August.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. That's been really informative. It sounds like 4-H has a lot of great things in the pipeline, and we're excited about all of that. I appreciate your time here today. Thank you for watching this episode of Spotlight North Carolina Cooperative Extension. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, please hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll see you in our next episode.